Alright guys, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Empire led by the Dim-Witted One, facing off against the Ogre Kingdoms, who shall be helmed by Gondola the Patient here on the Sword of the Lake. Do we have any aquatics? Does the Empire have any aquatics units? I think maybe the landship might have the keyword, even though it's not really relevant since it's large, but we might have the Boglars of the Mad Marsh here. That would be some forbidden tech, but looks like we do not have any aquatics units. This is a dark time here, but looking at the Empire army, it is going to be a couple Pistoliers, a great Vanguard option, move them up, pressure the map, get objectives, and they can put some hurt onto lightly armored targets, so facing off against like Ogre Bulls or things like that, even Noblars. Noblars actually don't have shields, so the Pigbacks do, but the basic ones don't, so a little bit of Pistolier action, not the worst thing in the world. Halberdiers and Spearmen backed up by two great cannons for the Empire player. On a map like this, super big, super open, cannons are going to be having a field day. Now, there are a couple ways to line of sight them using like the hills. For example, you could creep over by objective 1 and maybe kind of do a little bit of sneaky up on the cannons, but for the most part, they should do pretty damn well. Spearmen and Huntsmen, so a lot of anti-ogre tech, which makes a lot of sense. And then the last part of the army is going to be a Bright Wizard and Marcus Wolfheart. Bright Wizard going to be rocking Burning Head, which makes sense. Because the one thing this Empire army is really good at, tons of spears, tons of anti-large archers, cannons, which essentially are kind of anti-large. Really good at killing the big stuff, but it doesn't have a ton of options for dealing with Noblar swarms, so that's where the Burning Head comes in. So, for the Ogre Kingdoms, it's going to be a shit ton of Noblars, so Pigback Riders and basic Noblars, backed up by a lot of Ogre Bulls, so kind of a little bit different, right? Although against Empire, you can't really get away with Lead Belchers on an open field map like this, so Homeboy, and it is Gondola too, plays pretty wild, which I love. Coming into the Ogre Bulls en masse, Stonehorn over here, just to be a raid boss and a damage sponge, backed up by a Paymaster with the AoE buffs. So he does have the gold, glorious gold, and then is going to be rocking anything else. No, that's it. And Burning Head, really good against Empire. State Troopers have low armor, very vulnerable to that, so I do like that quite a bit. But the battle is on, and the cannons are going to be targeting into the Stonehorn and getting some good, consistent damage. Two Blood Vultures being called out. How is the Empire player going to deal with that? You know, Knights of the Blazing Sun, Empire Knights, Black Rose Knights, whatever. There's a bunch of different options, but it looks like the Empire is going pretty hard in the paint with sniping the Stonehorn, with Marcus Wolfheart actually using his Amber Bow. The Amber Bow is a really good sniping tool and does some pretty good damage right there. But here comes the double Vulture. Yeah, it's going to be on here in a second. The Empire has secured these objectives here with another Halberdier on its way in, and the Blood Vultures are going to be the big question mark. How are they going to do right here? Are they going to jump on the Huntsmen? They're going to go after the cannons. Looks like a unit of Empire Knights has been called out, and yeah, they're going after Huntsmen. A good call. Huntsmen only have 17 melee defense. Going to be very weak against these type of diving units. Meanwhile, the other Vulture looks like it's flying overhead, going after the cannon. And yes, the Empire is heavily up in value, but all that value is sunken into one Stonehorn, which still could be effective, right? Okay, so Net's going down from Marcus, but a Burning Head going to be activated here as well, getting both Pistoliers and going back into the Huntsmen. So not a bad play from either side, really. Those Pistoliers going to want to be retreating in a second, and it looks like the cannon crew does get jumped, but the Empire Knights immediately get the charge. Meanwhile, the other cannon is going to be putting the hurt down still, and Flagellant's being called in. A good tech, actually. Flagellant's really good at killing Noblars. And yeah, the lines are holding for both sides. The real epicenter of combat has been this side here. While the Huntsmen going to be continuing to provide anti-large support, it looks like the Huntsmen who did get caught in melee forced back here, and the Empire Knights are going to have to come and deal with this. Noblar is easy to run down, but that Stonehorn, no healing on the Ogre roster outside of Meat Feast. They have the baseline Meat Feast, but they didn't bring any Troll Guts or anything like that for the fat heals. Marcus Wolfheart being hunted too, a little bit dodgy. He doesn't have his net. The Paymaster and the Firebelly are both really respectable fighters. So Marcus Wolfheart is going to need to run. He's going to need to go full sprint away and try and disengage from that particular fight. Empire Knights getting wrecked by the Stonehorns. Stonehorns are anti-infantry monsters, but still have really good AP. And it looks like the big dog is going to be moving through the Empire Knights, trying to get back to the cannon, which is hammering into him. I mean, he's taking a little bit of damage right there. Okay, so elsewhere on the battlefield, it looks like on Objective 3, it's being held by the Empire. Burning Head activated on the Free Company Militia. Honestly, probably would have been better to use Burning Head on the State Trooper lines here, just like cook these Spearmen and get complete dominance over that objective, but not the worst play in the world. As the cannon does crossfire, the other cannon from downtown does manage to break the Stonehorn. Pretty big win for the Empire. So they invested, but they didn't get blue-balled in the end. They end up getting the break, and the Stonehorn is going to be chased off the battlefield. Meanwhile, State Troopers on their way up to try and reinforce. Marcus Wolfheart is going to be retreating back, and yeah, a little bit of overextension here on the Ogre Paymaster and Firebelly. Granted, I don't know if I would even call it that. Gondola has reinforcements nearby. I didn't notice that they had reinforcements so close, so they do have some support they can call in, but Marcus getting a net. Perhaps he could drop an Amber Bow. He didn't bring Focus Shot, so he only has one sniping ability. If he had brought both, maybe he could even get a kill right there. Yeah, State Trooper Halberdier is going to be able to beat Noblars. Objective 1 is pretty, or 3 is pretty secure for the Empire, but the Ogres have been able to Ogre-whelm them on objective number 2, and it looks like the Pigbacks and the Ogre Bulls are going to be hanging in there. State Troopers at the ready, General. They got their floppy hats and their spears. They're going to be forming ranks to try and hold back the tides of Ogres here, but immediately get trampled over, which makes sense. That's a lot of mass right there, and the Huntsmen in the secondary line, you're going to need a little bit more mass than that. Granted, the Spearmen are going to be doing a ton of damage. Their anti-large bonus against the lightly armored Saber Tusks and Ogre Bulls, not bad at all. So back in the middle, it looks like the Burning Head. It heard us from the past. It was like, oh yes, so it's what Burning Head the middle and secure the point. Good value, getting a Flagellant unit, missing that Spearman right there, but nonetheless able to cook. Probably what's going to happen here is the Empire player, you want to leave probably a Halberdier on this back objective to not get backcapped, or a Spearman is fine, and move your 2 Halberd units over to the middle and start getting that anti-large grind going. Now, Demogorgon Knight Halberds on the way, very nice, and a cannon is still online. Cannon is tracing into the Paymaster, and the Empire does have a Knight that's AFK in the corner of the map. Would be very, very nice to get that thing back, so we'll see if Homeboy's going to be able to. But the Firebelly getting broken here, pretty massive, and it looks like the Empire, though they were on the back foot, are coming back. Empire, always the GOAT underdog faction, super fun. Demogorgon Knight's pretty much good against everything on the battlefield except Noblars. Saber Tusk Pack's going to get torn to shreds. Those Ogre Bulls got wrecked. It looks like the cannon is being pursued, but Dim-Witted One going to be calling out a Halberdier unit trying to hold that at bay. And though Gondola was microing the Saber Tusks well and was trying to creep them back to the cannon, they did rampage. They are a rampage wild unit. And the Demogorgon Knights do clean them up, and now I would wager the Demis are going to come and try and get this Saber Tusk Pack as well. So good micro there. And the battle rages on in the middle. We do see the State Troopers getting picked off, pretty much only a couple Flagellants left. And this is a good snipe attempt by Gondola, trying to take down the Empire Wizard with his Paymaster. And it looks like the Paymaster homie might be able to get it done. He's getting a good boink right there on that Harry Potter. And yes, the Bright Wizard is going to be broken, but those 2 Halberdier units going to be tricky to hold. That is for sure. Demogorgon Knight's going to be sweeping a lot, and the Empire does have a bit of a second wind here between the Huntsmen, the Free Company Militia, Halberdiers, and Dismember activated on the Demis. Nice play, actually, really good by Gondola. And it looks like that's going to be allowing the doggies, or the cats, to circumvent the Demogorgon Knights and maybe get the cannon, but I would wager he might have another thing to call in. We're going to have to see. Dismember is now gone, so I don't think he's even going to get the cannon. He'll do some shock damage, but the Demogorgon Knights are going to, take care of those things before the cannon gets fully wiped. Most likely. Yeah, so they come in, they get a rear charge. Saber Tusks have decent base leadership. I think it's like 60 or something for what they are. Let me check. Is it... Really? It's only 48? No shit. I thought it was better than that. Well, they get chewed up. So, you learn something new every day. Halberdiers coming in, Free Company Militia shooting. Back objective a little bit sketchy. And, yeah, the Halberds are grinding well. Some of them, of course, are being overwhelmed, but the consistent value they're getting in anti-large is certainly not bad at all. More Halberdiers going to be called in. Demogorgon Knights, oh, man. Yeah, they actually get the cannon offline. Now, the Empire Great Cannon might rally and come back. It's pretty damn close to the edge of the map, though, so we'll have to kind of follow that with great progress. But if Gondola can get that cannon offline, that's a massive win for him. Demi's going to keep sweeping, and it looks like the Firebelly has been brought back. That's a great choice by Gondola. Being able to get a big Burning Head on like 2 Spearman units and and/or a Halberd unit would be a pretty big game changer. But yeah, Ogres are holding on, man. Points are really, really close, though, and it looks like the Empire, their Knights that were AFK on the edge of the battlefield, no longer AFK. Coming in with Pistolier support, Spear support, and the Bright Wizard, most likely are going to be getting the Ogre's back objective. This could be the beginning of the end for the Ogre Kingdoms, especially if they lose that back point. It's going to kind of take away their late game plan of Helm's Deeping. And did the cannon rally? It did not. Very, very fortunate there for Gondola. But Dim-Witted One with the Demogorgon Knights, he's been doing a great job. I always use this analogy of like the sweeper. So I played soccer in high school or football, as most of the world knows it. And I also played a little bit in club and soccer as well. In college is what I meant. I played club when I was in college. And, we used to, I guess like in high school, I played sweeper. That was one of my positions. And like, I've been told that it's not even really like a thing anymore in soccer. That like position just doesn't really exist, I guess. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear, all of you powerful Europeans and your thoughts on that. But regardless, Halberdiers are moving up. Spearmen coming as well. And Demogorgon Knight's going to be reinforcing. Ogre's getting a little bit of Chungus pressure on the back objective. This like ratting is what can keep him in the game. Over here, the Spearmen holding, but being compromised by the Paymaster and some Saber Tusks. So a nice hold by Gondola. And if he manages the Ninja Objective 3, that could open up some Gremlin play, that's for sure. Really probably should have left something a little bit healthier on that back objective. We'll have to see. So Marcus, Halberdiers, Demogryph Knights pushing up aggressively. Empire Knights going to be surging over to try and stabilize that back point. And are the Sons of Sigmar going to get this objective? We got 2 Pistoliers. They do manage to fight off the Pigback Riders, getting a little bit of decent firepower, but probably won't retreat. Paymaster himself only has 36 armor right now because he's exhausted. His base is 40, so he's a great target for Pistoliers, by the way. Really, really nice target. But the Empire flips objective 2, but the Ogre Kingdoms managed to flip this back objective, and they have Pigback Riders here. I mean, these Empire Knights could definitely lose this fight. I don't even know if they got their charge bonus there. It looked a little bit awkward, but yeah, Pigbacks, Ogre Bulls, it's going to be tight, but, you know, we'll keep an eye on that particular fight right there. Demis look like they're going to be going back. It's still a close enough game that the Empire player could grab objective 2, or his home objective back, and just hold objective 2 and win on 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. We got Free Company Militia being called in. Shooting the Paymaster, getting a sniper would be pretty big. So floppy hats out for the Emperor. And yeah, good shots, but probably going to get overwhelmed here. That is a lot of Chunguses. That is a big old formation, and we will see if the Sigmarites can hold. Maybe if the Huntsmen can rotate over, or the Pistoliers come in to reinforce, but I think that's too many Ogres. Yeah, they're going to get feasted on there a little bit. All right, objective number 2, held by the Sons of Sigmar. The back point is going to be restabilized. Demogryph Knights and Empire Knights able to clean that one up pretty easily. And now I think the Ogres are just a little bit too far behind to cook with here. I guess cooking is kind of their thing, but the Paymaster, yeah, getting a little bit low. Spearman pushing on the back point. Marcus Wolfhart probably still going to be able to snipe that Paymaster if he zeroes in on it. We're going to see if he does. And there's going to be a whirlwind coming from this back point. The Demogryph Knights and the Empire Knights, yeah, they're going to be able to really push across the battlefield. And so what you'd want to do with Dim-Witted One's position is move in the Huntsman, reinforce objective 3 with some Spearmen or State Troopers, which is exactly what he's doing. And yeah, and then just make a consolidated push towards this point. Not that you need to. I mean, he can totally just win on the 2 points, but putting the pressure on in this situation when you have a lead like this, I think is good to try and close out the game and take away the amount of time your opponent has to try and come back. Good Dismember here. Activated on the Pistoliers. That's going to be allowing the Saber Tusks to get in, and that's going to be a nice little hunt. Pistoliers do get chewed up. Dropping a couple of shots. Excuse me, I'm too weak. Get some water real quick, man. Something got caught in my throat there. Some good H2O. But regardless, good Dismember. Gets a couple picks on those Pistoliers, and they are going to be getting taken down. 2 Spearmen going to be pushing towards the back point. The Hunts Marshal doing really good. I mean, is he going to get the snipe? 400 HP, 92? Oh, are we going to get the money shot, dude? I don't know if he's going to reload in time. Are we going to get it? Or are we going to get blue balled? I think the range is a problem. Yeah, he just got out of range. So the Paymaster will live to fight another day. As the Demogryph Knights cruising over. Pistoliers going to be shutting down Leadbelchers. I like this tech from the Ogres, calling out a Leadbelcher late game when the cannons are offline, but there's still too many cav on the field. Probably going to be too hard to protect those. We'll have to see. But yeah, I don't see too many avenues of a comeback. Gondola is very good, but so is Dim-Witted One, and this is going to be a very, very tough call. So let's do a little bit of fast forwarding, see if there can be any attempted to come back here. Burning Head goes down, State Troopers arriving, State Trooper Tide arriving on the back objective as well. Demogryph Knights cleaning up a ton of stuff right here, breaking multiple Ogre positions of Blood Vultures and Saber Tusk packs. 2 Spearmen on the back point now is going to be a lot, and there is another unit of Demis coming in that are going to be at full strength. So yeah, that's probably just GG. We do see them getting pushed back. Objective number 1 is going to be taken. Demi's going to be sweeping out the middle objective. Meanwhile, on the back point, we do see the Empire Knights grabbing that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is probably the end of the road. Ogre Bulls grabbing that point. Empire having to dive a little bit deeply, but yeah, I think both players know at this point that it is going to be a victory for Visenland and Nuln. But yeah, great game, really fun. I love the cannons on the open field. Marcus Wolfhart was an absolute Giga Chad. Demogryph Knights had some really badass sweeping in the backfield. Ogres obviously put the pressure on. It's pretty much how this matchup always goes. Ogre pressure followed up by a desperate Empire comeback in the late game, and this time he was able to get the comeback. Fun little build, though. Burning Heads could have been a little bit cleaner, I think, for both sides, honestly. But yeah, overall, great game. GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we will be back with more sweaty action soon. That's it for tonight. Take care of yourselves. Adios, and Dovidzenia.